With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Monday Matt channel, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of favor myself as a bit of a porn connoisseur. Got me through some of my younger days, at least, and so I find drama in the industry to be quite interesting, especially when it comes to dealing with lawsuits and well, allegations of assault between performers. I mean, as I feel time has gone on, the BDSM, violent, rough sex scene seems to be more and more prevalent, especially with the popularity of someone like James Dean and other people that are like that get into some pretty hardcore situations. Now, granted, they probably all have safe words and it's an edited film, so there's going to be breaks in the action, so to speak, and allow people to kind of keep on with it. And I'm ultimately not against BDSM as a whole, but when they're trying to do it for entertainment purposes and it has the ability to seriously impact somebody when they're not trained in it or a professional, so to speak, we find ourselves in the situation we are right now, where you've got porn star Nikki Benz over here that's currently suing a sexual battery suit against Brazzers. Now, I know many of you are thinking out there, what's Brazzers? I love Brazzers. I'm not saying I love Brazzers. I'm saying I'm well familiar with the library and their catalog of content. Let's move on. Now, it says here, porn performer Nikki Benz filed this lawsuit against porn company Brazzers, director Tony T, and performer Ramon Nomar on Monday, alleging she was struck in the face, head, and breasts hard enough to cause her to bleed during a December 2016 shoot. In the suit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court on Monday, Benz names Brazzers, its parent company MindGeek, director Tony T, and male performer Ramon Nomar, alleging battery assault, sexual battery, gender violence, and other counts. Now, this is going to be one of those situations where ultimately it's going to boil down to like he said, she said. Now, if this goes to, let's say, jury, which is probably not what any of them want. They're going to want to settle. But if it, let's say it goes to a jury, the jury is going to be shown this particular scene multiple times in order to ascertain whether or not this was in fact a battery case, right? They're going to have video evidence to support one claim or another, and that's going to be very fascinating to watch. Just from a purely analytical perspective, is going to be very interesting to watch. Now, Benz alleges that prior to the beginning of the shoot, she was only aware that the shoot would be hardcore and what she would be wearing. And hardcore, I mean, you might think hardcore, softcore, Skinamax, Triple X, right? That kind of thing. But hardcore is taking on a whole new meaning in today's current market, where they want to go further out into the realm of taboo in order to get in those maybe kind of outlier watchers. I mean, like, go on Pornhub right now and you can look up, step sibling incest stuff is all the rage for some reason. But that's where the taboo is right now. But there's still a lot going on with hardcore. It says, however, the suit says Tony T repeatedly slapped Benz's face, breasts, saying, "Open your eyes, bitch, open your fucking eyes." He would film with one hand and choke Benz with the other hand. Nomar stamped on Benz's head. Between Tony T and Nomar, Benz was hit, slapped, choked, and thrown to the ground against the wall, the suit read. The suit also says that Benz suffered physical violence enough to cause bleeding, that Nomar and Tony T concealed the blood by pouring water on the walls and flow, and that Benz was not only gagged with her own underwear, but also effectively waterboarded. And this is one of the problems I've seen with some of these scenes. And I'm nowhere near an expert on the BDSM world. I'm nowhere an expert in any of that stuff. But I've perused enough clips to see some stuff. And none of that is my thing. Now, granted, that's just me. I'm a rather banal and milquetoast kind of guy. I like your standard, guy and girl and things like that. So everyone likes their own things here. But I've noticed there's this big increase in that sort of stuff now with these kind of attacks in porn. Girls getting slapped around, and you can sometimes watch when they get hit. You'll see their face; they'll react because they either weren't expecting it to be that hard, or they just caught him off guard. And then, they quickly cut to another scene or another shot, and they kind of work their way around it. But I do feel that it is getting rougher and rougher, and that's not necessarily for the benefit of anybody. Now, the especially this waterboarding thing here, that's pretty crazy. The complaint adds that Benz never consented to having Tony T touch her during the shoot at any time, and called cut several times during the shoot to express that to him and Nomar. During the exit interview, when asked if she would do the shoot again, she said she wouldn't shoot with them again, the suit alleges, after which Tony T yelled stop. Tony T made Benz record her exit interview again to give a yes, saying that if she didn't do so, Benz would not receive her check. And that I don't know about. But that's an interesting one because, porn is very much the reliability on word of mouth, right? The porn industry is a very tight knit community, right? Like back in the days of Gamergate, you had porn star Mercedes Carrera come into the mix, and Mercedes is a fine person, and anything else, but there was a lot of people out there that didn't like her. In fact, I spoke with a few porn stars that were friends of my personal friends that had nothing but negative things to say about Mercedes and sent me a whole bunch of documentation to back up their claim. These people talk, all right? They talk, they gossip, they discuss. So this kind of thing would not do very well for Tony T, and going into further, shoots and anything else. People talk about this, and they can have a serious impact on the business. Now, as a result, the suit says Ben suffered pain, suffering, emotional distress, as well as past and future medical expenses and lost wages. And that's clearly what she's going to say in order to seek these unspecified damages. The Wrap has reached out to MindGeek, an attorney for Tony T, and for a response. Benz first accused Tony T of assault in December, after which he was fired by Brazzers. The director filed his own lawsuit against Benz, Brazzers, and MindGeek, claiming he was defamed by her accusations. Nomar was also listed as a plaintiff in the suit. Okay, so what do we know from this right now? Well, we know that that Nikki Benz was roughed up. I think that's a fair assessment of what happened in a scene where it appears that it was just like one partner, hardcore, but the director was slapping her around. In order to fully see the context of this, I'd have to go and seek out the scene. I don't know if it's available on Pornhub or SpankBank or Beeg or Tube8 or thebiglistofporn.com. But I'm sure it's floating out there because this happened in December 2016, which means that probably by January 2017, it was already on the market in some form or another. So you have maybe seen this scene and might have a better understanding of how hardcore it was and whether or not she actually was showing signs of distress for something she had not fully consented to. It could be that this particular scene was a bit more hardcore than she wanted, and as a result, she felt that the abuse she received for a paycheck, hampered her ability to get further work down the road because it went a little bit too far. And this could be one of those situations. Again, I have no idea about this. I have no knowledge of whether or not this is going to be the case, but I do have to question motives and I have to question the response here. So Brazzers is a big name in the industry. They are well known and well memed in many cases. And they are definitely, going to probably try to make sure they walk out of this as unscathed as humanly possible. She filed the complaint against him a year after the assault. That's something that kind of strikes me as a little bit odd. Is this happened in December of 2016? She didn't complain until December of 2017. That was still very much during the key fervor surrounding the Me Too movement. So I have to ask myself if it was a strategic complaint in order to get this man fired, in which case he was fired, and then he's filing a suit against her, and this is her countersuit. So I'm very curious to see what comes from this. I'm very interested to see what the settlement is, because that's probably what's going to happen, or whether or not this actually ends up going to a jury, and they have to end up going through that scene over and over and over again in order to confirm whether or not she actually was a victim of domestic violence. Although that gendered violence thing I find to be just kind of I don't know. In porn, how often in those scenes do they demean women in terms of derogatory language? That's, I just, at that point, I kind of figured that's par for the course when that's kind of what you're going into. But she maybe not. Maybe she didn't know. I don't know. I just work here. However, I am curious to know your guys' thoughts about this one. Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Do you think that this is as big of a deal as she's making it out to be? Do you think it's just a porn shoot gone awry? Do you think she was abused? Do you think Tony T was wronged? These are things I am curious about. Be sure to let me know in the comments. As always, my name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great night, and peace out. Hey, thank you very much for watching the video. Be sure to hit that subscribe, click on that bell, and follow me on social media. It's the best way to stay up to date on all things Mundane Matt, as well as check out 3 Buck Theater and the Russell podcast streaming Sunday through Thursday, 9:30 p.m. on russell.net. Thanks very much and have a great day.